So, Steve, you saw Bad Moms Christmas.
Yes.
And then, Charlie, you as well saw a Christmas movie, even though they both came out in November.
I thought you were going to say Bad Moms Christmas as well.
Yeah, we both saw Bad Moms Christmas. Who can make it sound better than the other? No, Charlie, you saw Daddy's Home Dos.
Yes, I did. That's what the Spanish subtitle.
Papa's Casa Dos. And Papa's isn't...
I think Papi.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll find out who can convince me on the other side.
Are you ready for Movie Versus? Welcome to Movie Versus, the podcast where we pin two terrible movies in an all-out battle for the best of the worst. Here are your hosts, Tyler Lamb, Charlie Pixley, and Steve Shannon. All on Movie Versus!
Hey everybody, this is Movie Versus, the podcast in defense of bad movies. My name is Tyler Lamb. I am one of Trace hostesses.
Hostesses?
Yeah, that's like, because you're just a
small-town girl living in a lonely world?
I was going to say you're just a zebra cake.
I want to be a hostess cupcake.
And Charlie, yeah, you're a Twinkie. And that's not a joke about your sexual preference.
Twinkies are my least favorite, though.
And yeah, I already said my full name.
I'm sure zebra cakes are little Debbie's, by the way.
Probably. I could.
They definitely are.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, I mean, you've been doing that research paper about little little Debbie's. But
trying to get my master's.
Well, exactly. You gotta have some type of thesis.
Yeah.
And so I have with me Steve Janik. Steve, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. We're all just off the holiday, so we've all had a nice long weekend. I hope everyone's gotten to have a relaxing time. So I'm ready to defend this film.
And Charlie Pixley, to my right. What's up, Chuck?
I just really want some Popeyes now.
I guess I gotta throw that into the end of the episode.
You're not leaving in that 10-minute intro? Leave that whole thing at the end of the episode.
I was going to say there's no song anymore for the intro. It's just us straight into talking about that whole discussion, leading into me doing the opening right now.
If that was the beginning of every episode, that would be pretty fun.
No, I'll throw that into the...
or don't, and make me look crazy.
Or make every listener be like, what? I thought there was going to be something at the end.
I better go back and download every episode.
It'll be like the Spider-Man Homecoming stinger at the end, where it's just Captain America being like, "Be patient." I'm like, fuck you too, guys.
That's and they had people eating out of their fucking hands because they were like, "Oh, we get it. We're chumps." But anyway, Steve, you saw Bad Moms 2. No, Bad Moms Christmas. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And Charlie, you saw Daddy's Home 2. And I have seen both of the originals of those movies, and these are actually both. I realized more so how good of a matchup this was because they're both Christmas movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And also
it's totally focused.
Yeah.
They're both definitely Christmas.
And
movies.
one is a mom and one is a dad, and they're both sequels to comedy movies.
Did Daddy's Home come out last year around this time?
I don't know.
Are they both?
It's got to be older than a year.
It was while I was still in LA because I was working at the AMC, so maybe over a year.
It's got to be over a year because we were here doing this last year.
Yeah, exactly. It came out. It came out before Batman v Superman, which was right before I moved back. Okay. So it was probably 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering if we were fortunate enough to have two 1 year turnaround films too.
Oh, yeah.
That would just be like another checkbox.
Bad Moms?
Bad Moms was 2016.
Okay. So yeah, Daddy's Home I think is about 2 years because I think around the same time 2 years ago is when the first one.
And think of how old that video was. Granted, it was during the filming, but of Will Ferrell hitting that cheerleader with the basketball, that skyrocketed on the internet. But that feels like a long time ago.
They actually filmed that at a thing, right?
That picture was on Reddit for so long.
And that's what I'm thinking too. Paul Scheer isn't like, he isn't Will Ferrell, but he's still recognizable, I would like to think.
He's definitely recognizable.
So, like, if you're at a basketball game and Will Ferrell comes up and you're like, oh, they might be filming something, or maybe he's just, like, being funny, and Paul Scheer is there as well, like, wouldn't you be like, oh, this is
I feel like Paul Scheer is probably like a 50% recognized, like probably about 50% of people.
Or probably like, I've seen that guy before.
Yeah, I would say it's more that.
Okay,
that guy's recognizable. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think...
He definitely has a memorable look.
Yeah, I don't think people know his name. I would say it's less than 50% of people that know his name.
Yeah.
But I would say it's more than 50% of people that would say, he looks familiar.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, hey, it's Andre from the League.
Yeah, I think that's a good, yeah, because that was a pretty popular show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so more about the League. Can you guys just talk about the League for the next hour?
I never finished it, but I really like the stuff I've seen.
As someone who's watched all of it, I'm in. Let's do this.
Okay, yeah. I liked the cameo of the guy from the OC. He was a great character. So I'm just gonna start out because I just watched Bad Moms today, so I think I'm more interested in what's going on in this movie. Like,
great.
No. As I was saying that sounded bad, but I meant like, since that's the freshest in my mind, I want to know how they're continuing it right off the bat.
I gotcha.
Because I don't remember the trailer as much as I remember the Daddy's Home 2 trailer, which I think I've seen more than the Bad Moms Christmas one. So, so just go in on the plot of Bad Moms Christmas, and let me know what's going on, Steve.
So, since you just watched it, it's very similar to how they approach the thing in Bad Moms. Like, they say they want to be bad moms. They're not being bad moms. They're just being bad moms when comparing themselves to these weird, like, super moms that are very, very directed. What they want to do is they want to be bad moms, but in the idea, I'm using air quotes, but the idea is that they're just not stressing about the weird things. They still care about their kids. They're not, like, leaving their kids at soccer practice or anything like that. It's more about not conforming to, like, these weird expectations that moms now have.
Yeah.
And that's where Bad Moms 2 comes in, which is they realize that Christmas is kind of like this weird snowball where the mom's in charge of getting presents, wrapping presents, decorating the house, cooking dinner. Like, there's all these duties that are kind of put on moms, or moms at least kind of do it. And they've decided that just like they were doing last year, that they want to take away all the weird pomp that's kind of sprung up around Christmas. And it's not like they're going to give their children a bad Christmas. They just want to stop doing the things that they don't want to do around Christmas.
Yeah.
They kind of turn into, like, this weird beast that no one really wants to be a part of. So, like, she says, Mila Kunis says, rather than doing, like, getting all crazy about all this stuff, she just wants to, on Christmas, wake up, open presents with her kids, go sledding, make some cookies, and get, like, some Chinese takeout for dinner.
This is just a side question to is she still with the...
Yes, she is.
Okay, alright, cool.
They are dating.
Alright, continue.
And so the whole point is that she kind of wants to create this more low stress for her and her family holiday, and she just wants to spend time with her family rather than turn it into, like, this big thing going on. And that's what she's going to do with her friends, Kathryn Hahn and Kristen Bell. Like, they all kind of agree that they're kind of going to bring the tension on Christmas. But then all of their mothers come into town, and they all kind of are exaggerated versions of, like, mom characteristics. So Mila Kunis' mom is really overbearing and kind of a perfectionist, and turns Mila Kunis into, like, this anxious ball of nerves who doesn't think anything she's doing is good enough for her mother.
Like an angry orange?
Exactly, like an angry orange.
Okay.
Then Kristen Bell's mother is very clingy. Her husband died when Kristen Bell was very young, so she's really attached to Kristen Bell, and so, like, she has, like, real boundary issues. And then of course, Kathryn Hahn's mother is kind of like her. She's a free spirit and kind of flighty, and is very unreliable. So, like, they're all very exaggerated characteristics of, like, the kind of typical mom type characters you see in all kinds of films and TV sort of thing. And then it's about them interacting with them as they're trying to dial back the craziness of the holiday.
Okay.
And that's the basics. Sorry if that kind of sprawled a little bit longer than.
No, you're fine. You did a good job of, as in it brought more questions that I want to ask you.
All right, good.
Later.
Perfect.
So Charlie, let's hear about Daddy's Home 2.
All right, do you remember the first one more or less? Like towards the end, Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell's characters get along.
Yes.
So in this one, they have a really good relationship, and they're splitting their time between the kids, and they work together to make it a good life. They still have their problems with each other and stuff, but it's still very friendly.
Just because I just watched this movie, I'm gonna add some questions from Tyler on this one. Is Mark Wahlberg still with his wife from the end of the first movie?
And their castle house of sorts,
and
like
then I'll
mansion.
I'll go off of that with this is just going to be a tiny question with what you
Sure.
said. So it has Dusty actually changed?
Yes.
Mark Wahlberg's character.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool.
And they still have their issues with each other every now and then, but they don't they're not hanging out all the time. But they still do hang out even without the prompt of the kids and stuff. So they're friends.
And he's not as much of a perfect relationship as No, and they both still are a little bit in their own way, and that Will Ferrell's a little bit of a perfectionist and stuff, so he's kind of an asshole in that way too. And there's a school Christmas event going on, and one of the girls says I hate having to have two Christmases, one with one family and then one with the other. So they decide, we need to just have one Christmas between our families. We get along well enough together now. Let's just do this. So they bring the parents in, and obviously, like you've seen in the trailer, Will Ferrell's dad is John Lithgow. Lithgow, right? Lithgow, I think.
It's a Trinity killer.
I've heard of both ways.
We always say
his dad is the Trinity killer / the person who spread the simian flu.
Surprise twist. He is the Trinity killer in this film.
If we're going with their alter egos, then Mark Wahlberg's dad. Oh boy.
I've got some questions.
He kind of plays like an amped up version of the bad person that you've seen in certain instances of his life, but it does lead to some laughs.
Is he also trying
to
act like he's Australian? In this movie?
No.
Okay.
No, he is not.
At any point do they visit the set of Apocalyptica 2?
So he never said, but I'm in Mad Max. That was filmed in Australia, guys. Come on.
But he does talk plenty about what women want. And
very good.
Mark Wahlberg does not go along with his father at all, and the father just he told them hey, I'm coming to Christmas this year. I don't really want you to be here. He's like, well, my plane gets in here. He's like, okay. Good.
Do they make it sound like he never got along with his dad, or does he not get along with his dad because of him changing?
Yeah. No. He never got along with him because he never felt like he could live up to him, but now he knows, oh shit, and he's really gonna fucking
I'll give Daddy's Home 2 some credit. That makes sense as far as Dusty's character in the first movie.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. I was just wondering because he seemed
trying to be like his dad.
Definitely, I can definitely see him not living up, but I could also see them being that weird dynamic where they're they go out and they're like, we're more brothers than dad and son sort of thing. Like they do one of those jokes. But I could have seen it happening. But I also understand
what you're saying, Steve. That's kind of how I expected this movie to be. Like Mel Gibson would have been like, "What happened?"
Yeah,
Mark, we used to be bros, and now you're
him being like, "Let's go to the bar. Let's go to the bar." And no, Dad, I'm not doing that anymore, sort of thing.
And Lithgow comes in. I think Mark Wahlberg's mother's out of the picture, but Mark Lithgow. What did I say his name? John Lithgow's character. Will Ferrell's dad. His mom is
Mark Wahlberg
is taking care of a sick relative, so she doesn't come. So it's just the two dads that come into town to hang out with the kids.
Okay.
Mel Gibson's character, they get into the house and he says hi to the grandkids. The grandkids are just kind of indifferent towards him, just like, hey, Grandpa. And of course, Will Ferrell's dad comes in and they lose their minds. They go crazy and he just pulls bags of cookies out of his clothing. Just look what Grandma made. And all this stuff. The kids love him. That's the first time that then Mel Gibson is like, oh, shit. He definitely wants to be there more for the grandkids, but he really doesn't give a shit about Mark Wahlberg still. There's one point where he picks up the baby that Will Ferrell had with the mom. He's like, oh, look at your nice new kid. And Mark Wahlberg says, "That's not my kid," and he almost just like drops it on the ground. He's like, and just puts it away to give you an idea of his character.
Yeah.
So, tensions are definitely running high there, and Mark Wahlberg starts openly trashing him in front of the family, and to kick things off, Mel Gibson wants to impress the kids and everything, so he books this, like, Airbnb super nice snow lounge for all the families to go to, because he saw a little tiff in between Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, and he's like, oh, well...
Time to, like, drive a spike in between that.
Yeah, you think you're so good now, and you think you've made some changes, let's see if this really, is legit. So he gets the whole family to go up there, and everybody else is pumped and to stuff like that to have a nice place to go to. They go there, and of course they're in one big cabin more or less. There's rooms and stuff, but it's out in the middle of nowhere, so there's not a lot of places to go. Tensions start running high, problems come up, and it kind of proceeds from there.
Okay. And
I'll go into more story stuff.
Yeah. So you said all family stuff together. That's how John Cena gets involved.
He comes in, later on,
because he's the real father to Mark Wahlberg's step kid.
Yeah, yes. About halfway through, some stuff starts coming down where then Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg start getting mad at each other again, and they recognize, they're like, "This is your dad playing us," but we still have some problems with each other, so it's kind of interesting that they address them. Like, don't let him just fuck us. Like, we know he's just doing this to piss us off.
That's when DJ Khaled comes in, because he's like, he's playing. You can't play yourself. You gotta,
he's like, you loyal.
Major key. John Cena, major key.
They just won't stop talking about their sons.
I don't know anything about DJ Khaled, so I can't add to these jokes.
Another one.
Another one.
Damn it, I did know that one.
Steve, you played yourself.
Damn it.
So they had been harboring a few things towards each other, but then they started, like, kind of screwing each other over here and there.
Who is they? You're talking
Mark
about?
Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
Okay.
I guess the big thing that sets some stuff off is Will Ferrell's dad starts acting a little weird, and the only person that notices it is Mark Wahlberg, because he doesn't know him. So he's like, what's up with this guy? Will Ferrell's so blinded by just like, oh, it's my dad, and he's just great, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They're at an improv night, and just like in the local town.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Will Ferrell said,
Will Ferrell,
and Mark Wahlberg steals his bit.
Hold on. Will Ferrell said that he had signed his dad up for improv classes for last Christmas, so that was his gift that he's been working on. He's like, oh, let's do this, and maybe we'll like send you up on stage or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
They brought him up there, and they were playing like the game where you stick your hands through the other person's arms. I don't remember what it's called, but
it's called Whose Line Is It Anyway? Bit number 22.
And they were like, all right, like, call out a relationship. And they're like, oh, husband, wife, blah, blah, blah. And they said, throw out a scenario. And Mark Wahlberg notices it. He's getting a little pissed at Will Ferrell, so he says something like a divorce. And John Lithgow's character, there's interaction with him, they're playing, it's all funny and stuff, and you can see he starts getting that, like, 1,000-yard stare, and he starts breaking down on stage because it's an extremely awkward part of the movie, and it turns out that he and his wife had the other two people were playing like they were having an affair, and he was the husband walking in on it, but it was kind of recreating the scene that actually happened to him. And it was very interesting how dark it got for a minute. It's like, oh, shit. And Will Ferrell gets up and he's like, Dad, are your mom divorced? And other people in the audience are like laughing at them because they think it's part of the show.
Oh my god!
Like, holy shit! Lithgow's just kind of like, I wanted to tell you, but not till after the holidays and everything like that.
And after the murder was covered up.
Yeah, I gotta wait till I get one of those standalone bathtubs.
I was about to say I had to. I don't want to spoil the texture, so never mind.
But so that really sets off them then going after each other because Will Ferrell obviously blames partially Mark Wahlberg for bringing it up, but he kind of acknowledges that it doesn't make sense because
there's no way he would have known.
But he didn't have to bring it up in a public setting like that. He could have pulled him aside and told him like, "Hey, I think there's something's going on."
Okay.
And instead of in front of like that entire small town.
So I got two quick questions for you, Chuck.
That's how John Cena comes in then, because that's how Mark Wahlberg then, his next move against Mark Wahlberg's like, oh, well, I'm going to invite your wife's ex-husband, John Cena, over to the cabin.
Right. So how much John Cena is there?
The last third of the movie, I'd say.
Okay. All right.
That's
good.
That's more than I thought, because he wasn't in, like, any of the promotional
Right.
material. You knew he was in the movie.
I thought he would be in it because of the way.
Yeah, it was a good way to do a sequel, because he was in the very last.
He could have been in all of it, for all I know.
just playing himself. And also, this is another quick question, and I think I know the answer to it. Hannibal Buress, yes or no? Is he in it?
Because I will be honest, he stole the show in the first one.
He's a big player.
I believe he's very briefly in the very beginning. But, they leave. So, like, they go to the cabin with just families. But I think with
it's
the
all
castle,
about, like, a Christmas vacation?
Yeah. They go for, like,
so he's not. So Will Ferrell's not at work. He's not at.
No, they leave all that stuff within probably the first 15 minutes.
Okay, but I
Maybe
feel
the
like
first
Hannibal
20 minutes.
Buress was, like, borderline living with them at the end of the first one, wasn't
Well, no, he ends up leaving.
Oh, he does?
He gets kicked out.
I remember there's a line at the end where he says something about, like, he's like, he's a baby, man, I'm not going to steal his wallet, or something like that.
No, he does come over and is, like, hanging out with the family. Like, he has become, like, a good friend of the family.
The best part is when they're standing outside the window. Well, Hannibal's just looking at his family from outside the window. Will Ferrell's there, too, and he sees the original family together. He's like, man, I really hate you, but this is heartbreaking.
That's in the first one, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because he sees Mark Wahlberg, like, snuggling with his kids and like...
Yeah. So since I just asked Charlie a couple questions that were pertinent to his first movie, going on the second one, I'm going to do the same with you, Steve.
Right.
The first thing I have written down is everyone other than Mila Kunis still a piece of shit? But then later on I added, never mind, they're all pieces of shit. So, do with what you can.
No.
I mean, definitely Catherine Hahn is still a pretty big piece of shit.
Well, okay, so you saw the first one, right?
Yeah.
So let me.
No,
let me kind of preface this with the first movie. Starts with, I would say, maybe the first 20 minutes of it is Mila Kunis is almost an angel, and everybody around her is a total piece of shit. Like, everybody's just an asshole or a dick or whatever, and she's like, what?
She's just getting hit from all sides.
Yeah. So and that's why I wrote that out, because I was like, okay, so everybody's a fucking asshole, and Mila Kunis is actually, like, trying to be a good person. Yeah. But then later in the movie, Mila Kunis kind of started.
She just cracks.
Yeah.
She just cracks.
I mean, she's not that she's an awful person, but she was not the greatest. But just so listeners know where I'm coming from with that question, and Steve.
Right. Since it's not as bad because, and I mean, in the first one, Christina Applegate is on a different fucking level.
Which is she in this movie?
She has a cameo. She's not in the movie heavily, but they go caroling and they end up going to her house.
Interesting. Okay.
So
that's interesting, because the end of the first movie, they made it seem like she was a part of the group.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if there's like a rift or anything like. They don't really address it.
Yeah.
She's not core 3.
Okay.
But it's not quite as bad. It's mostly just the the outside world is actually pretty normal. It's just it's now like, instead of, because in the first one the point is that it's everything kind of beating down Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
In this one, it's just that the moms are kind of the antagonist. Everybody else is just kind of normal in there.
Okay.
And like, there is sort of the craziness that is around the holiday. So it's kind of the general, like, you're out, you're shopping at the mall. There's people, like, it's just a tough situation of everyone trying to find what they want, trying to find what they need, that sort of thing. So it's not specifically other people are assholes, it's just the moms are kind of overbearing.
And you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you just might find
sympathy.
So continue, Steve.
No, that's pretty much it. It's basically like the moms are trying to bring things back around, and then the moms are assholes a little bit, but they all have their own kind of reasons, sort of situation, that it kind of comes out through the course of the movie.
So are there still a a good amount of shitty relationship. Is Kristen Bell still in her relationship with her husband? Because that was probably the shittiest of all relationships, because it started in the first one as the dad, the husband being all like, you gotta take care of all the kids, and then it ended with Kristen Bell being like, no, you take care of all the kids, and there was no, like...
No, they definitely kind of...
healthy.
Yeah, it was, and I was like, okay, well, that's just a shitty relationship. You are, and Kristen Bell's character throughout all of Bad Moms 1 was like, almost
super repressed.
Yeah, almost like emotionally scarred because of this relationship she was in, and I was like, this is not, this isn't good. Get out of this.
She's definitely kind of like the quirky character that she was in the first movie, but they clearly show that her and the husband have kind of evened out the duties.
That's
like it's more like they both realized that one person in control and kind of being shitty to the other one isn't a real thing, and it just kind of like puts it
a good thing. It's probably a real thing.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. So they kind of bring it around. You may remember this. Kristen Bell talks about how her husband doesn't get erect.
Yeah, he's a never hard.
Yeah,
That's what she says.
in this movie, he does get erect, and so like it's kind of like once they've balanced out the relationship, they imply that once they've balanced out the relationship, like they both are more satisfied in the bedroom, sort of thing. So that if that's any kind of indication to you is how they've evened out the relationship, that take with that what you will.
Gotcha. Charlie, I think you kind of already answered this when you were talking about your...
Just that good.
But I'll throw it out there for a quick little... how much racism is imbued by Mel Gibson's just body?
I now wish there were more scenes of Mel Gibson and Hannibal Buress.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you feel like you felt like you knew what he would call a group of African American males?
And know what they're gonna do. According to him.
Just based off his character, I feel like he would say this about...
Wait, according to Jim? What does he have to do?
Well, he stole that line right from the show.
Yeah, well, there's only 8 simple rules of how you should
fall. So, he's definitely playing that kind of version of himself.
So the real life version of himself.
How many?
Obviously reined in a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think he might. I'm trying to remember. I saw this like.
So he didn't say anything about Jewish people.
No, he said something about Asians, I think. But everybody shits on him. Like, what the fuck is your problem?
Are you talking about him or Mel Gibson?
No. Okay. Yeah, like whenever he brings up being I'm assuming when Charlie's saying like whenever he gets racist, people like call him out.
Well, no, I didn't know if that was a
thing. It wasn't anything memorable.
I didn't know if it was everybody shits on him or everybody shits on EM when you were talking like everybody shits on him.
Oh, yeah.
he made an Asian joke, but everybody shits on him.
Did he?
The kids get in. It's a real food.
How many voicemails does he leave throughout?
What did he say about the sweetness of a woman's breasts?
Well, since it's Christmas time, he said that they're frosted.
Okay.
Let me get into a real point, though, that I meant to say, is that an interesting part of the movie that I thought that they took was that they portrayed, in the first movie, at least from what I remember, and I just watched it before I saw it, Mark Wahlberg is definitely the more negative parent, and he seems just like, Will Ferrell's clearly the better parent. He's not perfect, but as far as raising the kids, much less likely to like forget them at school and do shit like that.
I'd say Will Ferrell's probably, I think they're both ends of spectrums to an extent.
Well, that's what I'm going to get into here, is they definitely play it more in the balance between Will Ferrell's a little bit of, or they're both good parents in their own ways, but it's kind of brings up the balance of them through their parents, and that the parents are definitely the complete spectrum. So Will Ferrell and
they're like the middle sections, and then like John Lithgow goes the far left,
like normal people in politics be like slightly left or slightly right, and then you have like the complete opposite. And the best example,
the Facebook accounts.
Yeah, the oldest kid, the oldest boy in the family.
Yeah.
He is starting to get interested in girls, and it's just kind of neat how they address it. that they both
neat.
Like, like Mark Wahlberg's values have some benefit, and Will Ferrell's do in some of the situations that they rise to. But well,
it's weird because Mark Wahlberg says like "fuck him" and never love him.
No, Mel Gibson essentially said. Well, hold on. Let me get
okay.
So the cabin next to them, a ways away, the kids were out playing, and he saw the girl, and he's just, oh, she's cute. What do I do? And Will Ferrell goes up to him and he's like, talk to her, become her friend, and get her to confess everything to you. And just become her friend. He's like, you're going to take a lot of losses. You're going to go to a lot of weddings. It's like, and when the dad comes up, I'm like, why are you here? She never talks about you anymore. It's like, make sure you bring that invitation so you have proof that you're invited. It's like, you're going to get lots of losses. And, I mean, really a lot. And it's going to be hard. So he's kind of that end of it where it's like, just be nice and talk to him. Yeah. And then Mel Gibson says, just go up there and plant a smooch on her and grab her ass.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But they say, I mean, they address that.
Okay,
like,
good.
No, don't do that.
Oh,
Mark Wahlberg takes the more realistic approach where it's like, just go talk to her. Don't get her to... Will Ferrell...
Will Ferrell's
dad says, like, you want to be in the friend zone. That's, like, the good place. So he's, the full extreme. Mark Wahlberg's just go up there and show some confidence. Which isn't a bad thing.
That's probably the best out of the advice.
Yeah, exactly. So
and it's least...
exactly.
Exploitive.
Yeah.
Exploitive or rapey.
But it's just nice for them to show Mark Wahlberg being the better parent in this instance instead of Will Ferrell always.
Will Ferrell was like exploiting her trust to like learn about it.
But he didn't say it exploited.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's why
innocent. He's like, just become their friend. They'll tell you everything. That's why really close with them.
I was saying that's why Mark Wahlberg's was the best because Will Ferrell meant the best. Well, Gibson did not. Well, I guess meant for the best. Yeah, I was about to say meant best for the one person.
To be fair, that's a tempered Mel Gibson.
But,
that's jeez, that like makes me. I just took a shower. I feel like I should take it.
But they never give him an inch as far as anything he says. They just shit on him, and the kids never. I don't think they once end up appreciating him.
That's
oh wow.
That's good. And
like his own.
It almost feels like a veiled like
shot at his children.
Or just Mel Gibson as a person. Or like nobody respects.
Okay, so the Mark Wahlberg has the best thing. Just go up there, talk to her, be confident, let her know you like her, and just see what happens from there. Mm-hmm. And then of course the boy is just hearing from 4 different people, so he just goes like, no, that sounds too scary. I just want to do Will Ferrell's way. I just want to be your friend and hear a problem. And runs off crying. Will Ferrell's like, that's my kid.
Is it the bully from the first movie by any chance?
No, it's a new chick.
Okay, just wondering.
It's nobody from the first movie, just a random family.
Honestly, I gotta say that scene was fucking awesome in the first movie.
It was great. I saw that ending because that was when I worked at an AMC. I worked at a movie theater, and I saw that ending, like the whole like dance off scene. Before I saw the whole movie,
Bill Burr is back in it.
Yeah, Bill Burr. Oh, he is. That's great. Yeah. And I saw that like in scene. I was like, oh man, this actually like doesn't seem that bad. Like you got Bill Burr coming in for a little cameo. Like the parent. Like they seem to come together at the end. Like have a decent moral at the end. Like kind of just.
It's during the time in the beginning when I mentioned unless you don't want me to spoil this cameo for you.
I would say let's wait.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So Steve. I guess this is probably also because I just watched Bad Moms 1. I have more questions about,
very specific things.
The first one going into the second one than I do Daddy's Home.
Does she still have the 3-piece corduroy couch on position in this part of the
Yeah, I mean, did she get rid of that? Or, because she's got
She upgraded into a section.
Oh, thank God. Alright, well, Steve wins. No, so Steve, is there a prolonged bar scene? Because in the first one, there was like a 5 to 10 minute scene of them just sitting at a bar drinking.
Jesus.
And
they like finished drinks and ordered more?
Yeah. No, it was like a montage of them.
It was a montage of them trying to get Kunis like back out of the
No. It was before that. When they all three first started hanging out.
Okay, that one.
And it was just cutting to them like hanging out more.
Like drinking, yeah.
But they were just at a literal like bar, like at the counter of a bar. Not just
in the
in there.
background, go like.
Yeah.
It was superimposed.
The bar scene is replaced with them getting drunk in the food court, which I'm still unsure about how you obtain that much alcohol in a food court.
Yeah, what?
So I guess.
That the trailer.
Yeah, I was gonna say I guess you don't. I guess you don't remember that from the food court or from the trailer.
I don't.
They're in the mall to go get like Christmas presents or something, and they just come in and just see like a war zone of like kids or moms trying to get presents, just like everything's just everything's crazy out there. Kids are like basically assaulting the mall Santa. Like they're like I want this and this and this and Santa, that sort of thing. So it's just crazy at the mall, and they're like, do you guys want to just go get drunk at the food court? Which, like I said, I didn't know that like getting drunk in a food court
is an
option.
That sounds terrible.
Right.
It does.
It sounds super expensive too. Probably more expensive than a bar.
I honestly don't think it's a thing. Like I would bet money that it is not a thing.
You get wasted at one of the movie theaters at the Galleria that's next to the food court.
Yeah.
That's their beer. They take forever.
Yeah.
So they go to the food court and they get a bunch of drinks, and that's when they decide to take back Christmas, and they don't want it to be crazy anymore.
They finally want the Christ to be back in.
I would say they finished the war on Christmas.
So right. So that's when
they Master Chief.
So they're talking about how Christmas is such a ridiculous thing, and that's when they go through like they just want to be appreciated because they spend all this time and they put all this effort into making Christmas amazing for their families, and their families just always give them stuff for Christmas that feels like they put it together when they woke up that morning. Like they spend months like trying to figure out what gifts to get all the kids, and the kids just like wake up and write them like a book of coupons for hugs. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, here you go, Mom. And then Catherine Hahn's like, wait a minute, we just fucking did this with like normal parenting. Why can't we do it for Christmas too? Like, why can't we just take back this holiday and like enjoy it and spend time with our families in the way that we want to? And then they, they're drunk at this point, and then they kind of have like a montage of them them kind of causing shenanigans in the mall.
Oh, shit.
They go to the mall Santa, and they show him a pretty good time. They pretty much give him a triple lap dance of Mila Kunis, Catherine Hahn, and Kristen Bell.
How was this taking back Christmas?
At that point, it's not really taking back Christmas, but that's when they make the plan to like, on the day of, we'll open presents and we'll spend time with the family and get food.
So they're gonna get this Santa a boner, and then children. Okay.
I don't see the plan. I think you just realized mid-conversation that the plan is foolproof.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was a very Weinstein Christmas.
It's beginning to look
more spacey like Christmas.
Santa's just trying to live his truth.
Yeah, well, hey, Santa's now a gay man. So, Charlie, and then I'm gonna ask you a similar question, Steve, because both your guys' movies, they're both sequels. One's a sequel with just a number at the end, and the other's a sequel with no number and like a extended title. So that kind of goes into this question, Charlie. Yours is Daddy's Home 2. Why is it not called Granddaddy's Home? Well, and not Daddy's Home 2.
I don't know why.
Like, do you have a separate title that you think could work this?
Yes, with the time allotted to think about this, because I don't want to think that I just gave up and just boom.
And now the way it's edited, people will think you thought of this real quick.
It's called Meet the Fockers.
Yeah. Yeah, this is actually called. This should be called Daddy's Home 2.
I was about to say this is called Little Fockers.
No, I would call it, due to their confinement and in Christmas time, I would call it Daddy's Home 2, Walking in a Winter Thunderdome.
Is that because of Mel Gibson?
Yeah, and because it is a Thunderdome in the cabin.
Really?
Well, yeah.
Once
they start fighting each other, and
they do it. Do they do it? Do they say a Thunderdome reference? Do
two men enter, one man leave?
They might have done it as an actual.
Does Master Blaster run Bartertown?
I was going to say, is
that
that one R&B singer? I can't remember her name.
Tina Turner?
Yeah, okay. I thought it was Tina Turner, but I didn't want to say Tina Turner and be somebody completely different and be lambasted as a fool.
Susan Boyle.
fair, she would have been the right age at that time.
So yeah, does Tina Turner show up and fight?
Her Force Ghost does.
Okay, good. So what's the name of the movie?
Daddy's Home 2, walking in a winter Thunderdome.
All right, cool. So Steve,
nice joke.
Conversely, not conversely. I don't know if it's what would be the
just keep going.
Sexually, your movie is called Bad Moms Christmas instead of Bad Moms 2. So, what would you give it if you give it a different / better title? How would you? And it can't be just. Yeah, I was about to say it can't just be Bad Moms 2.
So I mean, in the same, it'd be Bad Moms 2, and much like.
Oh, you would put the 2 in the title.
I would put the 2 in the title. Okay. Bad Moms 2.
Walking in Winter Thunderdome.
How the moms stole Christmas.
Okay, that's interesting. It's interesting you both kept the 2 in there. I actually kind of like that because I like a movie.
How else would you know there's sequels?
Exactly. You never know when you got Aliens, Alien Resurrection.
Well, I feel like when you have the number and the colon subtitle, then you can either call it by the subtitle or you can just say Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah, and it makes it clear that it is the sequel to that other movie, but then it also gives you something like some information about where this movie's going.
Yeah, yep. I also in my example missed Alien 3, the only numbered.
I was wondering. I was gonna bring that up, but I was like,
But it just shows how confusing movie titles.
How confusing just the Alien series is.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. So we got Prometheus.
So
that's
alphabetical
part of it.
order. Wouldn't Alien 3 show up before Aliens?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, so does Alien Resurrection.
None of it makes sense.
Alien vs. Predator. Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
All of these before Aliens.
I'm glad you're finally understanding how the Alien series works, Charlie.
Well, hold on. It's Alien vs. Predator, Fast and Furious 3, Tokyo Drift, then AVP Requiem.
Well, I mean, you got Predator versus Alien. No, Predators.
Yeah.
And then Predator 2.
Well, it would be Predator 2, Predators.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right, I guess.
That one works.
Yeah, never mind. I'm a piece of shit. You're right.
Stop recording.
Yeah, it turns out Adrian Brody was right all along, and we should all protect our neck.
So you're saying kiss Halle Berry?
Yeah, sexually assault Halle Berry live
only
at the
after she wins an Oscar, though. That's
Yeah.
the only time because the legal loophole.
He got right in there. He knew his.
Wait,
opening.
is that role specific to Halle Berry, or are all people allowed to be sexually assaulted immediately following an Oscar win?
I feel like this guy.
Was she the first African American lady to win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, or was it Best Actress?
Best Actress probably,
Okay,
because I think Best Supporting Actress was, I can't remember her name, but the woman that was in Gone with the Wind. I think she got Best Supporting Actress.
So you can only do it, Steve, if you're the first African American lady to win Best Actress.
So never again.
I mean, unless they were like, let's reboot.
Let's reboot the Oscars. Wipe it clean.
Hey, they might do that this year.
Yeah, who knows? That's
no. Forget about that.
I feel like Adrian Brody is on a crusade to be banned from as many live programs as he can be.
That would be funny if he's been filming some long documentary this whole time.
Yeah, and then Casey Affleck is the director of it.
And it's a sequel to movie 43.
I was going to say it's a sequel to I'm Still Here.
So it's movie 43, :
I'm Definitely Still Here, : the Adrian Brody story. I'm still here regardless. I'm still here regardless of your bans.
Live die repeat.
Anyway, let's do anything else. Continuing this fake perspective movie.
Oh my god, it was actually going to be called All You Need Is Kill. And then they changed it.
And then it was
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, but then it changed to Live, Die, Repeat, the Adrian Brody story. Yeah, okay. I gotcha. Okay, Steve, so this is kind of another continuation of, I guess, the first movie. I'm really curious about this part. Is the fact that she is the head of the PTA...
No. not something that comes up at all.
Really?
I think what it is because of her being in control of PTA. You know, they've really dialed back like how much PTA is going on, and not only that, like we're pretty much almost exclusively in like the week or so leading up to the Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. So there's no like school shit going on really.
Like I think they're already out for break.
That's kind of what I thought with the question, but I would have assumed, was there even any mention of PTA
I think
at all?
I mostly just like we took back. Like, it was mostly like we took back the PTA. You know, why can't we do it for Christmas? Sort of situation.
Okay. That's it was Jada Pinkett Smith in it at all?
No, she was not.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And Charlie, how many pratfalls were there in Daddy's Home 2? I'm assuming at least like 40% of the movie.
Wait, Chris Pratt is in this movie?
Just Chris Pratt
falls a lot. Not as many as in the first one.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
There's a scene like outside with some when they're putting up the lights and stuff like that, but
yeah, I would say one of the worst parts of the first one, two of the worst parts, I guess. One, the motorcycle thing, and then one, the skateboarding thing. And those are like the two biggest pratfalls in that movie.
I really wanted to see in the first one like one trick out of like one good trick out of it.
I thought the skateboarding one was funny. I thought the motorcycling thing was stupid, really terrible.
The only thing that I mean, him going into the wires is kind of dumb because I mean they're covered with rubber. Why would he get electrocuted?
That's how hard he hit him.
Like I'm fine with Mark Wahlberg like being the cool dad and dropping in and like just kind of getting some air, which still is pretty insane for just some random. But and then it's even more insane for Will Ferrell's character to just be able to one drop in and
off
two
a roof
and two be able to just get that and like it's people. I feel like it's one of those things where people are like, well, I mean, you go up a ramp and you got. So the skateboard just keeps attached to your feet, right? If you just go up it.
Well, that's what that one little peg sticking out of it is. The thing goes into the person's foot.
Yeah. Okay.
That little plastic hole.
Well,
I know exactly what I was talking about. It's how I rode all of my skateboards.
With the handlebars in front and only one wheel in the front and one wheel in the back.
I thought it was funny just because it reminded me of the other guys where it's like build up to this like epic moment. Then it just where they
the like let's aim for the bushes.
Well, because I thought for sure they were gonna have him just dropping off the roof and just eat shit immediately. So when he landed, that's like, oh shit, maybe he's really gonna actually do something. Then he goes up and gets electrocuted immediately.
I gotcha. I think that it was just a little too much, especially after the motorcycle thing.
That was dumb.
Yeah. So there's no pratfall on that level or similar in Daddy's Home 2?
Not really. Nothing that was like that dumb. I can only think of really one, and it's with when they're putting up Christmas lights, but it's a throwaway scene. I mean,
so what happens?
Something falls off the roof, like a sled thing,
and lands on somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, might as well. Pratfalls and Bad Moms Christmas. Are there any like bad ones that are just that you're just like, oh boy, or is it just kind of?
It's not a pratfall per se, but so Catherine Hahn's character is still working at that spa she was working at in the first one. And
wait, she's working what?
At a spa.
Oh, okay, yep, I remember that.
Yep.
All right, yeah, that's right.
So she's
that's like a throwaway scene in the movie almost.
It's a much bigger part. Like I don't want to say a bigger part, but like they talk about it more in this movie because she's there a lot and she's doing a lot of waxing.
It's like for the holidays. It's like a 3-minute scene in the first one, but I remember that. Yeah.
So in this one, she ends up waxing a guy who's an exotic dancer and invites her to the sexy Santa competition that he's participating in. And so she goes to the bar with Mila Kunis
and he's just so hairy and
no, it's
full of jelly.
No, he's not
full of jelly.
He's not really hairy at all. He's just getting his balls and ass waxed.
What a pratfall.
But so she goes to see
how embarrassing.
So she goes to see him at the Sexy Santa competition, and while he's performing at the Sexy Santa competition, her mom gets up on stage and dances with him, and then ends up falling off because they're on a bar. So she gets up there to dance with him and ends up falling off the bar. And that's like the only real pratfall.
This is a curious question here. I guess all questions are curious, so I don't know why I prefaced it with that. Who are there famous actresses who are the moms?
Susan Sarandon is Catherine Hahn's mom.
Okay.
Cheryl Hines is Kristen Bell's mom.
Yeah. Give me a filmography.
She is Larry David's wife in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Give me a detailed filmography though.
And Mila Kunis's mom is
from earliest credits to latest.
Yeah. Mila Kunis's mother is played by a woman who I'm familiar with, but I can't I recognize her, but couldn't name you anything off the top of my head.
That's a really long name.
That girl from iCarly.
Yes.
Okay. Her actual mother.
If you saw a picture of her, you would recognize her face, but you would also probably not really know.
But at least there's, Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon's a hard hitter.
Yeah.
And then the Curb Your Enthusiasm wife is recognizable.
Mm-hmm. And she's most people know her at this point from Curb Your Enthusiasm, but she's kind of one of those faces that you've seen throughout the years. It's like,
oh, she's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I recognize her.
Well, she's like a female character actor who kind of ends up. You see her a lot in just random sitcoms and stuff. She's got one of those sensibilities that end up being someone in a sitcom.
Can we bring the phrase "the talkies" back? Can we just kind of start putting that back in the ethos, and all of us be like, well, I went to a talkie this weekend. I saw that new Thor talkie. and when people try to react to it, we're
just completely ignore the whole situation.
They're like, what talkie? And you're like, well, the new Thor where he,
it's a movie, but they also
where he's and the new Justice League talkie,
Moving on.
Worst talkie of all time, dude.
Worst mustache talkie ever. So I guess those are pretty much. Let me double check here. I think those are all the questions that I have, and the ones that have been brought up. Pratfall, blah blah blah. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go into final thoughts, and then also I think I'm going to relate the final thoughts to what I thought about the first movies, because I've seen both of the first movies.
Okay.
Wait,
you're going right into your decision?
Decision, yeah.
Okay.
I feel. Oh, wait, good question, because I haven't gotten you guys to final thoughts.
Yeah.
So let's.
That's what I thought you
meant. Yeah, that was my bad. So Charlie, you brought it up. Final thoughts for Charlie. Let's hear.
This was very enjoyable. This is one of the better, if not the best, theater movie I've seen for this.
What do you mean for this?
It's a podcast.
Okay.
The best that I've done for podcast is still The Marine. Clearly, this is a close second, since it also has the starring character. But I definitely enjoyed myself. It was fun. I would actually recommend probably go seeing it in theaters, like you and landlord Kevin would probably enjoy it.
Okay,
it's a fun time.
Because we enjoyed the first one.
Yeah. I watched the first one, but immediately went and saw the second one because I did enjoy it enough. I was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and go see that tonight. And I didn't have much going on, and I had fun. And I really liked how dark it got during that improv scene, because there's no sound in the background. It's just it gets very uncomfortable.
Really?
And then the people start laughing because some of them think it's in the scene. Well, the improv people start going along with it because they're improv people.
Yes,
and he starts kind of crying, and they're like, oh, well, we love you too, still, son. To Will Ferrell in the audience, which is really fucked up.
And then Drew Carey comes in and is like, oh...
12 points for Gryffindor. Am I right?
Yeah, and then all Drew Carey's friends from the Drew Carey show are also in it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, it's going to be Daddy's Home, but with more holiday jokes, but with fucked up Mel Gibson, but then they shit on him some more.
I hope literally.
Again, wait till after the credits.
That steak.
Yeah, the after the credits scene is so long.
It really builds the world.
More John Cena. A really funny cameo from Liam Neeson.
Oh,
that's good.
Okay.
Is he John Cena's dad?
No.
Is the John Cena stuff? Does it feel forced? Or is it just more John Cena? Like, he's in it more because of what the events that happen in the movie.
I thought they brought him in the smart way, and that Will Ferrell's just like, oh, let's make this a family thing then. Yeah. Let's invite another stepdad into this, Let's bring him in.
Which makes sense, yeah. I mean, that's why when I saw him...
punishment to Mark.
When I saw him in the trailers, I was like, okay... When I saw him in the trailers, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can see a reason why you would bring him into this movie, because the first one ends with him being Marky Mark's opponent.
And throughout it, that girl still does not like Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
She fucking hates him throughout the whole thing, but she likes Mark Wahlberg's character.
Wait.
Or she likes John Cena.
Okay.
Her real dad.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. And it actually... It doesn't fully end on it, but it closes very close to the very end on a song, and normally I fucking hate that in movies, because that's just like, people singing.
Oh, like a musical number?
Not like a musical, but just like everybody start, because it's Christmas time. It's Christmas movie, people start singing, but it's funny enough since John Cena's involved, and
how'd you
it's
know?
done well. Well, I mean, it doesn't show anybody singing. Everybody else is shown singing, and then you hear a voice and nothing, so...
Okay.
So, process of elimination.
Like, Christmas time is near. You do get time for joy.
I don't know if you want me to spoil it, you get to... Will Ferrell's mother comes in at the end as his dad is leaving the airport with a new stepfather. Do you want me to spoil who it is?
Well, let me make my joke real quick. So, with the song that I was just singing, does Jason Lee show up? And
no, he does not,
Cena!
unfortunately.
And Cena's like, I still want a hula hoop.
Huge tall T with a J on it.
Okay, so spoiler your thing. I just had to.
I mean, you want to know who he is? Or
is that Liam Neeson?
Well, no, you said the mother, I thought.
Yeah, the mother's, I don't even know who that, it was just some actress, but the new stepfather.
Of Will
Ferrell.
A theme of Will Ferrell's new stepdad, because they're divorced.
Oh, okay, yeah, so is that Liam Neeson?
No.
Who is it, though?
It's Captain Soley, that pilot who saved that airplane that the goose crashed in.
Tom Hanks?
No,
the actual Captain Soley. Wow.
But Will Ferrell's like, this is my fucking dad, and he goes up to him, and he does the thing that they've done in the other movies, where he's like, hey, are you so-and-so, nice to meet you, and she goes,
and
nope, just walks right by him, and Mark Wahlberg's like, no, that guy's like a great guy, and Will Ferrell's like, you only got one good story, my dad's got tons of good stories.
I was about to say, Will Ferrell just goes, and acts like a goose.
Not quite. That would have triggered him too much.
This may put a nail in that. Who is Liam Neeson?
So when they're trying to leave the cabin, because they're all fighting and kind of broken up towards the end,
they get a phone call.
Well, there's a blizzard in the town, so they have to stay in the town. The only place that has enough room for everybody in the town is the movie theater, and they have like some generators and they have power going, so they play like, oh, what movies are left? All the family-friendly ones are full, and it's they have this big cardboard cutout. You hear sound from the movie, like how Seinfeld plays it. You never see the movie, but you hear plenty of sound from it.
Rochelle.
It's called Mistletoe, but T-O-W, like toe missile.
That's a good fake movie name.
And it's about, what is it? It's Liam Neeson is an ice road trucker, and he's got his kids with him, but he's towing a series of like military tow missile units, and terrorists attack the country, and that's Liam Neeson. It's like
that is a really
he makes a shit ton of Christmas puns within 30 seconds, and the kids are watching him. He does some sort of cursing. He's like, shove this fucking tow missile up your ass, and the parents are like, oh fuck.
That's very interesting. That when writers are allowed to make fake movies, it's always the best. Like it's I mean, you got Seinfeld. All of their fake movies are great. Mm-hmm. What's the chess one?
Sack Lunch.
What's the chess one though? Is it just Checkmate, or it's
Is that not the Crossfire one, or?
I think you're right. It's Crossfire.
Maybe, I don't know.
Seinfeld has a bunch of great ones, with Rochelle being top notch.
Yeah, like the journey of a young woman from like Moscow to Minsk.
A young girl's erotic journey from Milan to Minsk.
and then you've got, I mean, even How I Met Your Mother has a bunch of great ones. which, Steve, do you remember off the top of your head?
No, off the top of my
Okay, yeah.
Rochelle is good too, but Death Blow is really good.
Death Blow is great.
Death Blow.
And then this, you got the mistletoe.
Which
like,
I did laugh my ass off when I saw that shit.
It's always stuff that, like, you know that would never actually be released as a movie, but it's like,
Maybe.
but yeah, but it's like, okay,
but you could also see it being released as a movie.
At this point, Liam Neeson's career.
yeah, you're like, okay, but maybe they would release a movie called Mistletoe with Liam Neeson.
There's a guy at home who was writing who saw this and was like, damn it! just at home with a Sharpie, just scratching now. He's like, back to the drawing board.
Well, yeah, now he scratched out the E and put a W, and he's got a whole new movie.
Well, that's what it was in the movie.
Because
his truck is towing.
I thought you said it was T. I thought you said it was TOE.
No, but it's a Christmas action movie, Mistletoe, but it's tow missiles. Like,
Okay.
And he's towing them. Oh, it works on so many levels.
I think that the picture is like an 18-wheeler, but instead of a box trailer, it's like a shit ton of surface-to-air missiles and stuff. And he's holding an RPG and his kid and another like a kid.
I mean, that's just an easy way to add in.
Mm-hmm.
You could just any form of no. I'm not knocking it because it works well.
Charlie, I would like to congratulate you on your win today.
All those kind of. So Steve, let's get some final thoughts here.
Oh God, I totally had. So I don't know if you felt this way about the first movie, but I felt like the Bad Moms, so far both of them, have the same kind of thing where.
Oh, both the movies.
Yeah, both the movies. They are exaggerated, but I do feel like these are like real problems, and they have like at least quasi-realistic reactions. Like especially Mila Kunis at the beginning, she's just kind of beaten down, and she's just trying to do whatever.
What do you mean real problems?
Well, I mean like.
You mean like the stereotypes?
Yeah, like she's dealing with all this crap that's coming at her, and she has like, especially in the beginning. She's reacting reasonably to all of the things.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it's just kind of, and that's the same thing that's happened in the second one, where someone's coming at her, she's kind of realistically responding, and you know they don't sugarcoat it. Like in the beginning, she's like, oh, what the like she truly is talking and like reacting in a way that I would expect myself or like my sister to react. Like what the fuck? Come on, you know, and like she has to take the dog in to get it fixed or whatever.
Your sister, you say.
No, we're not going down that road. But in this movie, I do kind of relate to what's going on in the fact that a lot of these problems could be solved by talking, but even when they try to talk, like one of the two parties like shuts down the whole attempt at a talk, which I think happens a lot in families. And of course, like I said, these are highly exaggerated situations of these common problems.
Yeah.
But like I really relate to
you can also say that in real life too. Like a lot of times, like
anyway,
a lot of problems happen, and then you could try to and to be like, no, you're wrong.
No, but because and kind of create.
You're always wrong.
I know that's why it works out best in my relationships.
But
I already know I'm always wrong.
To use an example from the film. Mila Kunis' mom, she's very much about like the pomp and the circumstance of Christmas. So she wants to have this crazy big blow up.
In the circumstance?
The pomp and circumstance.
I don't know what that means.
Circumstance.
Have you never heard that?
No, I have not.
Oh, anyway, but
graduation song.
Yeah,
it's like all
all
the like Christmas
pageantry
pageantry
is good. Mm-hmm.
As we go on, we remember the times.
I mean, that's the sample it uses.
Anyway, so the idea is that she's really into like the whole ridiculousness of Christmas. Like she wants the big tree, the catered party, like a living nativity. Like she's gonna call Kenny G and have him
nativity.
So
yeah, like they bring there's a camel. Like they're gonna do like a big thing, and like she gets Kenny G to play the music at the party.
Like as in I'm all right. Don't nobody worry about me.
No, Kenny G with the oboe. But she's like really into the whole ridiculousness of the holiday. Like she's gonna take the kids to see the Nutcracker. but not the normal Nutcracker that you used to, the 5-hour Russian Nutcracker.
Hold on,
where
Charlie, I call him Kenny G because he's got 2 G's and he's got 3 G's in his last name.
Sure.
Kenny Loggins.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I think it's just logins, not loggings.
Okay, so 2 G's.
There we go.
My bad. I was going to say 2 at first, but I was like, wait, maybe there's this third at the end.
How many G units are in this name?
2.
I want to take that math class.
Anyway, so she wants to have this crazy, ridiculous, overblown holiday, and Mila Kunis is talking to her. She's like, "Listen, I just want."
Wait, hold on. Who wants the crazy? I thought you
her
said
mother. Her mother.
Okay.
And she's like, "Mom, listen, I just want it to be the family. Like, I want to have a low key event. We're gonna spend the day together. We're just gonna enjoy each other's company.
Will be there.
Yes.
And,
So, and then the mom just refuses.
Event.
Stop
You
it.
guys get
Stop it.
low key. Like, okay.
Stop it. And the mom just kind of refuses to listen, and despite her best efforts of trying to make it, and so despite her best efforts of trying to make it a more relaxed holiday, her mom keeps insisting on doing she wakes up one morning and there are people installing this crazy 12 Days of Christmas thing, this crazy 12 Days of Christmas thing on her lawn
everywhere.
It has stands of all of the days of Christmas, and then at the end a box opens up and partridges fly away.
Comes out.
No, partridges fly away, and they have to reset the bird. It's this big craziness.
Wait, so is there a family of partridges?
Yeah, I know. There's only one.
Shit.
Yeah, the whole partridge family. They come out in a bus,
and they're all
R.I.P. Cassidy or whatever.
They're all red haired.
David Cassidy.
Anyway,
I always love how Steve just continues with anyway.
because if I didn't, we'd be here all night.
That's probably my favorite thing. Just almost borderline ignoring anything we say. Anyway.
and then Kristen Bell's mom, she without asking her buys the house next door to Kristen Bell's house and is really smothering her. And so Kristen Bell she's trying to get her to talk. So she takes her to therapy and is like, "Mom, I want to talk to you about this.
Mm-hmm.
I love you and I appreciate that we're really close, but I need some space for me and my family to kind of grow. I can't just have you in my life at all times." And her mom refuses to hear it. She's like, I have to go to the bathroom, and just leaves.
Okay.
So she just so a lot and
solid parenting.
So in both situations, the mom is just refusing to basically pay attention, and then
to communicate.
Yes, and Susan Sarandon kind of bails. No, that one's right out. But Susan Sarandon does what she always does: is she gets some money from her daughter, and then is getting ready to bail. But they all end up going to the same church on Christmas Eve, and they kind of basically each tell each other what they did and why their kids are mad, and then they all kind of realize
they gotta shove religion down our throats.
But they all realize that they have a part to play in what's going on, and they realize that they need to give on some of their things too, rather than just expect their child to give up everything. And so overall, I think it's a really good, relatable story, even if they do kind of ramp up all the ridiculousness. And there's some funny scenes, when Kristen Bell initially says that she wants to talk to her mom about needing some space. Her mom's like, "I have cancer." And she's like, "Oh my god." She's like, "Yeah, it's stage 12. I'm like, "Mom, that's not are you lying to me about having cancer?"
So you're dead 8 stages ago.
Yeah. And every time she brings it up, she keeps saying that she has a different. She's like, "I have polio." And I'm like, "Mom, that's not a thing." "I have a lazy eye." "No, you don't have a lazy eye, Mom." So she keeps trying to get some guilt points.
So Kristen Bell's character is a little more, not as weird, more assertive and more.
Yeah, she's definitely got her quirks, but it's more her explaining.
Yeah.
Her the quirks come from the past. It's no longer she's completely weird in the first one.
It's not all because she's in a shit relationship.
Her relationship is significantly better in this one.
Who does she toll for?
The Bell?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just Sue. She tolls for it. She tolls for the bell.
Okay.
The bells toll for bells. It's a real cyclical.
Okay, cool.
Well, wait. How does she like get a bunch of sheep together? Like, does she use some type of? Does she have like a way to herd a bunch of?
Like a husband.
Yeah.
Husband type.
She just uses like all of the other ones. She just uses the old Dax.
Dax the shepherd.
Yep. So can we do anything else now?
Okay, so are you done with? You just flipped over your page.
No. I was just seeing if there was anything else that I had to like talk about, but I think that pretty much covers it.
So I will. Let me give some bases here. So Bad Moms Christmas sounds like it sounds more interesting than what Bad Moms was, if that makes sense. Like it sounds. I like the I like how they brought in the moms. I feel like was that in the trailers?
What?
The moms being.
No, I don't know. I don't think
like,
they.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm fairly sure in the
that.
trailer they just imply that they were trying to like get rid of the craziness around the holiday, but they didn't talk about the moms coming in.
I don't remember that. So if that is a part of the trailer, apologies to all those trailer fanatics.
The very end of the movie, they do like the moms become friends and they do walk out to the new Kesha joint, Woman.
Ooh, motherfucking woman, baby. All right. That's a great song.
It really is.
But I do like that. That actually.
Our movie soundtrack by Manchester Orchestra.
Oh fuck!
Damn it, Charlie.
My two Achilles heels. Both my heels are out.
Now he can't walk. Let's leave, Steve.
My guard's really down. His guard's down. Quick, get him.
So I like that. That's a cool little like addition that they had to deal with their moms, and they're like, oh shit, we thought we figured out, what we're doing, but then our moms come in. I'm sure they're like,
that doesn't sound like my movie at all.
That's exactly what I was thinking, but I was going to let it ride.
So
but yours wore on its sleeve, Charlie. Mine, it was hidden.
That's true.
And I will say, Charlie, for yours, I was again, I was more,
aroused.
I was more aware of what was going on in your movie. At the end of the day, I guess I'll have to go. I had to go with Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah.
And that's because, and this comes down to, and I didn't want to bring this up beforehand, but I did not like Bad Moms. I did not like it at all.
I thought it was okay.
I watched it, and I'll go on a little rant here about what I did not like about it. I know that obviously I do not relate because I am not a mom, nor am I a woman.
But you are bad.
Surprising to most listeners, I am not a woman. But yeah, very bad. You hear that whip cracking in the background? That's because I'm so bad.
He's bad.
Who's bad? I mean, your butt is mine. That's what Michael.
Oh my!
That's what Michael Jackson would say. But no, bad moms, like the first, that whole like is anybody but Mila Kunis a piece of shit? It's because they made and throughout the movie they made like everybody but someone who was a mom with Mila Kunis look like a total absolute piece of dog shit. And it's like, oh yeah, you're a mom, so that means that everything's super fucking hard and you have to do everything by yourself. And that led into Kristen Bell's character, who like literally did, and I was like, that's a bad relationship. You should
it was real bad.
Yeah, I was like, you're in a shit relationship. You're at home by yourself with all these kids all the time. And then there's a scene in the movie where the husband called and was like, you need to come home and deal with this. And
when he just sees her out?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh god, and she immediately recoils like she's being hit.
Yeah, I was like, no, this isn't good. And then even, like, a lot of stuff with Mila Kunis, it was like, it felt like they were doing a lot of tropes on, and again, because it probably doesn't help that I'm not a woman, but like a lot of tropes against like men. Being like, men are pieces of shit and they never help with the family.
I mean, I feel
like a commercial on TV.
It really did. The beginning of it really felt that way. It was like, classic man doesn't do shit all day.
And
just sits at home.
I do feel bad about that, but like, I do feel like it was less about typical man and more like that dude. Was kind of
which they like as the movie progressed, they kind of went on with that, where it was like, oh, okay, so
we're just finding more about how much of a piece of shit that dude was.
Yes, but I think they also went to man, and I feel like I'm having to tread like lightly when saying this, but I feel like they tried really, really hard with like the whole moms are the best thing ever in existence, and they're the end all be all of everything. And they led really heavy on that, where it was like, it was kind of weird because Mila Kunis was trying to be the perfect mom, and then she and her kids hated her. And then she was like, I'm going to be a bad mom. And then her kids loved her.
Well, I mean, but
then all of a sudden, then they hated her again.
Well, but it's the classic problem of, like, when you see a movie where the kids, like, lose parental control and they love what's going on, but then they realize that the bottom's kind of dropping out of everything.
And again, there are things that, like, I understood the progression of the movie. Like you were saying, the whole, I feel like it was presented weirdly. And then at the end of the movie, seeing that it was written and directed by like a duo of dudes left a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, oh, so these are just like guys that are like, I bet you this is what the moms feel about us,
That's
right?
You're assuming though. What if they're both named Pat?
So it was I don't know. I think that there was like a thing there that was good, but it just tried really heavily to lean, which I can't think of a this probably makes me seem like a piece of shit, but I can't think of a version of that for the guy's side to be leaning very heavily into like, oh man, like guys are fucking this and I just felt like it had a good premise, but it leaned way too hard into the whole moms are it.
It's probably like a weird snapback of like these two guys are like, we need to make a movie about women in a thing that where it's a very heavily male dominant field, and like we're getting a lot of stuff about the disparity and women
heavily dominant.
And so it's almost
it was probably an overcompensation.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that it kind of goes into what we were reacting about the trailer, where it was such an overcompensation that it made those characters look like pieces of shit. Because they're like, and we do so much and we get nothing, and we should get everything because we do this. And it's like, what? No, don't you do this?
They kind of inadvertently turn like their own characters into caricatures.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was weird. The best part,
it's a good thing that never happens to stuff in real life, though.
Exactly.
Thank God.
The best part I would say about the first movie was the credit scene of all of those actresses.
No, that was really
with
cool.
their
that was
moms.
really cool.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little teary-eyed with some of those scenes. And also, Jada Pinkett Smith's mom, they could be sisters. They looked the same age.
Yeah.
What is going on? Well, we'll have to show you, Chuck.
Maybe it's a Beyonce Solange mystery thing.
Because they were, I only assumed it was her mom because every other character's mom was who they were with, and then it showed.
But also,
and I was like, wait, is Jada Pinkett Smith older than this woman? Like, what is? And she was like, oh, she was a great kid, and I was like, wait, what?
But all of the moms looked so much like they're like it was so.
Yeah, it was so
crazy.
I thought that was a great moment to like have the actual like moms come in, and that was really cool to just see that. It wasn't directly part of the movie, but that was a great moment of the movie to see that. As far as Daddy's Home 2 goes, I would just say I liked that movie more, the first one, and I think that is what led into me more interested into seeing the second one.
Okay.
Because it's probably just at the end of the day I laughed more at Daddy's Home than I did at Bad Moms.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why that led into that decision, and also I had more to say about Bad Moms because I just saw that today, and I saw Daddy's Home probably like a month or so ago. So I don't have as much about that other than some really dumb pratfalls, like we talked about the motorcycle thing and the skateboard thing, and then and some of the weirdly, I mean, they are jokes, but some of the Hannibal Buress racist jokes seemed like a little like too much like, hey, we got a black guy here, let's make a racist joke.
I gotta say,
we can do it.
When they seem like, I don't know, I got the vibe that was like, that I feel like that could have easily been Hannibal's idea of like, let's just make Will Ferrell's character like, because remember his kids are like racist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my favorite one was when like Hannibal came to his work. And then he was like, I was going to run after you. He was like, oh, that would have been a beautiful moment. And then they're like talking about setting it up. And he was like, this is insane.
that was a good moment.
Shut the door, man, because I thought this was going to be personal.
But yeah, that's why I feel like it kind of put Bad Moms at a disadvantage, just because
it happens.
I just wasn't a huge fan of it. I was interested as to how it progressed. But yeah, I guess let's just go into the real thoughts here. So, we've been on about Bad Moms for a while. So, Steve, why don't you just tell us what you really thought about Bad Moms Christmas?
It was an okay movie. It was kind of forgettable. The problem is that like I feel like it was better in the fact that it tackled something that was more relatable. Like as you said, like the other one was very more specific to moms. So like to a working mother sort of scenario, whereas Bad Moms 2 works regardless, like it works if you have like a parent, like it works on that like parent-child dynamic, regardless of it being two moms sort of situation.
I felt like the first Bad Moms kind of leaned heavily on a stereotype that isn't really prominent as much in today's society as far as like mothers go. Like not saying that moms don't do a lot, but as it's a lot more so divvied up than it used to be, and I felt like the first Bad Moms movie kind of leaned heavily on the girl has to do everything,
even if she is working. So yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And even though it did that, there were some things like that mall scene was really long. Like, it was like a montage, and it took a very long time. They later go to Sky Zone, and that is just an extended trailer for...
Is Clark Duke in this one?
Yeah. No, he's not.
Really? Okay.
Because you don't see them at work, like, they just don't show it. The only person they show at work is Kathryn Hahn.
Okay, that's
I didn't like how Kristen Bell, because at the very end of the first movie, like, even though she's kind of more of a dominant role, like, Kristen Bell looks like she's grown up a lot, at the very end. She's kind of, like, her hair is in a better condition, like, but she kind of is back to the same character as before. She's just not as timid, and, like, her husband's, like, more of a human being at this point.
It's so weird that Kristen Bell always gets roped into the role of, like, the weirdo person.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, you're so attractive. Like, you were that's weird.
There is
Charlie.
Movies.
Explain, Charlie.
so when Kathryn Hahn waxes the balls and taint of this dude,
what?
I told you about
the
this.
Sexy Santa competition.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So she waxes this guy. The ADR for that sounds so weird. Like you might understand more.
The additional dialogue recording.
Okay, so sorry.
I know what waxing a taint sounds like.
Okay, so maybe it's not. But just the sound effects, the mixing. Is that?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounded like, how in normal movies they kind of make it so that it sounds like almost like it's coming. Well, no, like the sounds are coming from a direction or things like that. Whereas this felt like back when we did productions in high school, where there should be a sound effect and then they would play it over the loudspeaker. So it would be like normal dialogue, but then it'd be like this weird ambient, very loud, coming from everywhere sound of the sound effect.
Almost like they dropped it in but forgot to do anything with it. Just
exactly
over every speaker.
So it was like
there's a track in Pro Tools that they forgot to fucking.
Yeah, so it's like this weird like ripping wax sound that was just super dominant. I was like, did you what? And so that like was very jarring.
Did you ask out their movie? Excuse me. Did you know?
Like it was it was one of those things where like I didn't know if it was supposed to be part of the joke because like the guy is also like he just has a gigantic dick in the movie, like that's like a thing,
dude.
And so like
you always shoot yourself in the foot.
Do you get to see it?
Yes.
Oh, what? There's a dick shot in this movie?
No, it's just like it's like in the pants. It's when he does the sexy Santa competition, like he turns around and like he's wearing like short shorts, but there's
an over the pants handy in this movie?
No. Oh. But like when he goes to help her like wax, he like moves his dick and like there's like a flop sound effect that once again is like is that God?
I'm assuming he moves it without his hands.
No, he moves it with his hands.
Okay.
And a crane.
but like overall the movie was okay. It's just like they could have done more with what they had.
Yeah.
Like they kind of just made it very quickly a thing, and then all of a sudden everyone kind of comes together and talks it out very quickly. It all gets resolved very quickly, and then they like save Christmas together.
I would say here are my thoughts on the first one. Let me know if this is similar to the second one. It's there are good things. There are good ideas that even if the good ideas are executed not like poorly, not very well, like they're still there, and the actresses are all good.
Yeah.
But it's just like the core of it is a good idea, but then like as everything it comes out at the core, like things are just not properly handled as well as they could be.
There's definitely I completely agree with that, and there's definitely like a part where I'm sure you kind of got this from the Bad Moms 1 situation, where it's just kind of like, they're women and they're not supposed to be crass.
Yeah,
so they like really, really, really lean into that, and I think that's part of what I meant of like them like acting kind of naturally, where like I expect women to like talk like
as
this
like
to
people.
Yeah, like like curse and things like that. But then there's a point where you're like, okay, you're just making them say ridiculous obscenities that like don't even function in what they're saying.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how the first one got, where it just felt like trying to take the extremes, like, I bet you never heard a woman say this.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but why would they ever say it? Like, I'm sure maybe some woman somewhere has said something about, like, pick up your tits. But when there's a whole chant about picking up your tits or something like that, I was like, okay, like, is this really something that girls, like, sit there and chant about, is picking up tits? Like, I could be wrong. Again, I am not a woman. Well, surprise, surprise.
but yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where you kind of...
It felt a little, like, heavy-handed and trying to be like, hey, we're just like the guys, right?
But, and it's one of those things where it felt like they were kind of doing that to artificially just, like, nickel and dime their way up to feature length.
Yeah, exactly. And then again, to what I was saying, it's not that it was more of a like you were saying, Steve. It's like, I hang out with women and they're like this, but then it feels like you're trying to force the fact that like, hey, they're definitely like this. Am I right, boys? You're surprised, right? And you're like, no. And also, this is a little extreme.
It's like when you take like a running gag, and like it's funny. And then it becomes unfunny, but then they don't push their way to where it gets to that awkward point where it's a little funny again.
Yeah, I gotcha. Do we want to go into
like porn does?
Yeah, exactly. Porn is just hilarious, especially when it's about bad moms.
Oh God, I'm sure there's one of those already.
I would say there were probably some before it.
Wait, did we do this joke on the last episode?
Probably. So I always forget. Do I talk about the Rotten Tomatoes score?
Yeah, I think you go into it.
All right, let's lift up this laptop that feels like it's £1,000,000. So Bad Moms Christmas is at a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, with an average of 4.3 out of 10. 95 reviews. That leaves 26 fresh and 69 rotten. And the critics' consensus is, featuring twice the moms but roughly half the laughs, A Bad Moms Christmas is a slapdash holiday sequel that falls short of the original with a disappointing dearth of good cheer.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be another thing where Charlie was like, "Why didn't you say this?"
Well, before you say that, I just want to point out that this movie is at 27%, but the average rating is almost about a 5 out of 10. It's a 4.3 out of 10. That's a very interesting dynamic of a very low, like, fresh rotten score, where it's almost about half of the average. Yeah, so go ahead, Steve.
I would say that there were about half the laughs, but I think they were kind of taking it more of, like, taking the route of they were kind of making it a little serious, but kind of adding in the laughs. Like, it felt like it was a drama comedy sort of thing rather than just like a comedy with some drama, you know? But this is a joke that probably I should have mentioned earlier. Susan Sarandon, like, Mila Kunis's mother is named Ruth, and when she introduces herself to the other mother, she's like, "My name's Ruth," like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And Susan Sarandon's character just says, "My name's ISIS," like the militant Islamic group.
I mean, that's an actual name, though. People.
I know, but she says it, and then likens it.
Famous.
She says like the militant group.
Yes.
Oh, not like the Egyptian.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. That's interesting.
And I was like, "Ooh." So they like when you find out her name, you're like, "I wonder if they're." Oh yeah, that's happening.
So this review, I feel like it missed out on a good joke. It says a stale old chestnut, and nut isn't in all caps, so I don't understand why.
Yeah, but they could have also put chest and all nut in all caps too.
Chest and all nut.
It's not chest nut. Chestnut.
This chest hyphen nut. This review is
Jesus.
Quote, "I have heart cancer," end quote. Mrs. Hines' character says at one point, in a vain attempt to halt her daughter's complaints. I think I know exactly what she meant.
Wow, that was a really, really, really ridiculous, like, I mean, she does say that, and, I mean, I thought that, like, they kind of definitely overdo that part, because she just throws out maladies, like, at one point. But
she do AIDS?
She might have. But that's definitely one of the situations where, like, they went too far, but not far enough.
Here's a positive review. We got, quote, "Why can't my husband buy his own mom a Christmas present," end quote, is this sweet sequel's thesis statement. Again, why can't my husband buy his mom?
No, I mean, I get that, where it's like, and I kind of see that in, like, my family, where the mom is kind of, like, the one who's coordinating all of the gifts. Like, my sister basically buys a lot of the gifts for everybody. And it's just, like, another thing of, like, why is it my job to make sure everything happens? Like, my husband knows his mom, he can get her a gift sort of situation.
Yeah, so I'll go into one more rotten, one more fresh. This is a rotten one that I feel like it's kind of like, it's weird going on that scale of the Rotten Tomatoes, rotten or fresh, you know? Because it's really not bad, just average.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a hard one to. And then a fresh one we got. John Lucas and Scott Moore, who wrote and directed Bad Moms and The Hangover, know their audience, and in A Bad Moms Christmas, they balance the nasty with the poignant.
I mean, I guess that's
poignant. I said the G a little too hard there.
Yeah. I mean, and I kind of feel that way about both of them. Is like I do agree that they kind of went a little heavy-handed on the nasty, and I feel that way on Hangover as well at times. Like, there's just a point where you're like, okay, I mean, like, we get it. Like, that's not how this works.
Yeah. I gotcha. And then for Daddy's Home 2, again, that's the winner at the end of this one, I guess, because I'm a sexist freak.
Definitely.
And because I'm a daddy and I'm home, so...
2.
2. Yeah, exactly. It's so relatable. It's at a 17%.
Do you want to hear my thoughts about it?
Oh,
or what, did we
no, you're right. You're right. We didn't do your thoughts.
We didn't
yet.
do your real
Let's
thoughts.
Do your real
you
thoughts.
did your final thoughts, not your real thoughts.
Yeah. I thought it was fun. I mean, it really was fine. Like, if you saw the first,
does it down and everything?
if you saw the first one and you got some laughs, it would not hurt to see this one and have some more laughs. Like, you're not gonna watch and go, "Oh my god, like that was disgusting," and I feel. You won't feel like you wasted your time, in my opinion.
Does your comment of it's the best movie that you've seen in theaters hold? Like, was that true?
For this podcast,
I have to try and remember any of the other ones, but maybe. I mean,
okay. I'm not saying you were straight up lying. I was just wondering if that was like an embellishment that you.
There are parts of the movie where you're kind of like, ugh. And there's definitely that one pratfall scene is definitely a way bigger scene, but it is still just one.
The Christmas light thing. Yes. I mean, well, I'm going by pratfall by the definition of like any just ridiculously embarrassing.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
He's using a snowblower and like sucks in one of the chain of lights. And he's like, "Why did I hook all the lights together?"
Jesus Christ! And then all of a sudden his character's replaced with Chevy Chase.
And then it's an extended scene of like every single light coming into the snowblower.
Yes.
And all of a sudden Robert De Niro's there too, and so is that one guy that like killed people.
Jeffrey Dahmer?
No, the guy who was
Leonard
married.
Little.
The guy who's married to Sarah Jessica Parker.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That guy. And he's there too, because they were in the same movie, right? That was Robert. Was that Robert?
No,
De Niro
it was Danny DeVito.
Oh, it's Danny DeVito. My bad. Sorry.
In Deck the Halls.
Sorry, Robert De Niro.
Yeah. Do not sully De Niro's good name with that. He's busy making the third sequel too.
I mean, I don't apologize to Matthew Broderick because he did murder some people.
It was fine.
Accurate.
The movie was fine enough, though. I mean, it was fun. I would recommend seeing it, and especially I saw it by myself. So if you saw it with some buddies, I'm sure you'd have fun enough. I mean, especially if it gets on Amazon or something, just watch that shit.
Yeah. Like the first one I think was free on Amazon. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I mean, I rented Bad Moms for like $4, and I mean, I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to complain about the $4 I spent on that. Like it was and again, I mean, I know it's not a part of that movie, but it was really cool to see like those actresses with their moms at the end. Like that alone was like a really cool scene to see all them talking about, and the moms being like, "Yeah, I remember one time Kristen Bell told me to fuck off."
When you were like 10.
Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, you said fuck you, mom," or something like that. And like just them talking about like stuff. I would have liked more. I hope that maybe that's a special feature on the DVD where it's like just in-depth interviews with the
moms of Susan Sarandon and Kristen.
Well, I know one for Mila Kunis. She said her mom was like she was like
for that.
Mila Kunis was like, yeah, my mom. I don't know where Mila Kunis was born. It's not in America. Yeah, okay, so Russia.
I thought she was Israeli.
It was somewhere not in America. I don't know exactly, but
I don't think so.
She said that her mom was like, yeah, we're gonna move down the block, and then her mom was like, oh yeah, and then we got on a plane to LA the next day. She was like, yeah, I was like, Mom, what the fuck? Like, it's not down the block. That was
they
cool.
were trying to be Jenny from the block.
Oh yeah. But they had like all the rocks that they got. They didn't know if
those were the buildings that had fallen.
Okay. So Daddy's Home 2. This is another interesting one because it's at 17%, which sounds very low. But the average rating is 3.9 out of 10. Like that's
solid. Yeah,
you would think that would be about like 39%. Out of 100, which is weird,
yeah.
Anyway, that's only 82 reviews, which is also interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Will Ferrell, like another Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg team up sounds like it'd be something that people would just like the reviewers would go see.
Yeah, and so that's for those keeping track, it's 14 fresh and 68 rotten.
Mm-hmm.
And
so close to both 69.
Yeah, I know that would have been great.
Quick make or rotten.
Yeah, I'll have to go through the process of making a credible reviewer that Rotten Tomatoes accepts. And
you have till Thursday.
Oh shit. And the critics' consensus is a formulaic comedy that's unlikely to spread much Yuletide merriment. Daddy's Home 2 can only muster a few stray yucks from its talented cast.
Does he actually say yucks?
It says yucks.
A good amount of it was formulaic, but that dark part of the movie, I wasn't really expecting it to get as kind of twisted as it did. I forgot there was one moment where, and they didn't all stay friends after this, but there was a funny scene, and it's so, I almost feel bad like giving in to the laughter of it, but fuck it, it was funny, it made me laugh. That there's a scene in about 2 o'clock in the morning where all the dads get united, they all stumble out in the hallway, and they're all just drenched in sweat, and like, what the fuck is going on? They look at the thermostat, it's a Nest one, so you can see it really clearly, it's set it to 85, like, did somebody touch the thermostat? Even Mel Gibson is pointing to Lithgow, because Wahlberg is letting his stepchild do it. He's like, even he doesn't let the kids run the castle. It's like, nobody touches the damn thermostat. They get together just like, do they even know the energy savings? All the dads being united about touching the thermostat was really fucking funny. Will Ferrell starts shitting on Wahlberg too, like, damn, man, you were always calling me like the pussy and stuff, dude. It was funny.
That's a good bit. That's so we got a positive review. Seen as a pure holiday comedy, Daddy's Home 2 works fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting what you know you're about to get.
A problematic comedy sequel that's almost worth sitting through for the incredible cameo in the final scene. Almost.
I disagree, but sure.
Who was the final scene?
Captain Sully.
That's right. Okay. Alright. This time, I'm positive we're not going to see a holiday comedy this sour and cynical and profoundly unfunny for a very long time. At least, that's my Christmas list.
I don't think it's cynical at all.
Or wish, my bad.
I don't think there's anything cynical about it.
That scene with John Lithgow finding out about, or Will Ferrell finding out about his parents getting divorced.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem cynical to me. It's sad, but I don't think it's shitting on anything.
That's fair.
I'll leave it with these two positive reviews. One is there are moments when it's there are moments when it's deliriously silly and delightful, and others where it misses the mark. And while at times it feels like too many dads, they eventually all learn to co-dad in some kind of harmony.
Yeah, I'd say so. Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg eventually like hash things out enough where they can tolerate each other. But I like it that Will Ferrell and his dad, work things out and they're all lovey-dovey again. But then everybody's saying like, "Oh, I love you too," blah blah blah. And Mel Gibson's still just like, nah. And Mark Wahlberg goes, "That's okay."
Yeah.
We're still not. We're never going to be like that. But
yeah, this one might be a little egregious or a little outlandish or whatever. This last positive review I'll read is, I found the sequel better than the original, the writing sharper, the jokes fresher and smarter, the comic interaction between the lead characters constantly engaging.
I did like the fact that the first one is so predictable in the sense that it's, okay, the mom gets then mad at Will Ferrell and blah, blah, blah. Like, you could write that in your sleep. This one isn't.
Janine Garofalo, isn't it?
No, it's Linda Cardinelli.
Yeah, that's right. This one is less predictable than that. Of course, most of it's still predictable, but it's not as formulaic as the last one.
The part that bothers me in the trailer is the whole, like, look in the mirror scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yeah, we still see you, Will Ferrell, because of the camera angle. Like, if the camera was angled at Dusty, we probably would see Mark Wahlberg. Like that.
Well,
thing is like,
the problem is
it's
like
kind of silly, but still, this is all the angle we're looking.
Well, he says, like, Mark Wahlberg tells him, dude, I would only see myself if I'm looking straight at the fucking mirror.
Okay.
I would see you. I'm seeing you because we're standing across from each other and we're looking at the side.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, no, that's I appreciate that they like address that.
It's immediately after the scene that's in the trailer.
He's like, yeah, if I would look directly at it, that's okay. It's just the way he positions him the second time, it looks like he's more straight on.
No, they just switch where they're standing. It changes nothing.
Fair enough.
Oh, it's weird that you think the boy is attracted to this girl this whole time.
That is weird.
So,
man.
So at the end, it does get really weird there, right towards probably the last 3 minutes of the movie. He starts walking over to the girl because he sees her in the movie theater, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" Everybody's watching him and stuff. You see him walk up because his sisters are teasing him with holding mistletoe over the girl. He walks up and he puts his lips out and kisses his stepsister.
Oh shit!
And then slaps her on the ass and says, "You're welcome," like Mel Gibson told it. And some of the people in the crowd are like,
sister or
stepsister, which is still not
so
great.
Don't worry. There's a lot of porn.
But
about
people say that, like, people in the theater are like, oh, cheering for him, and then one person calls it his sister, and somebody's like, what the hell? That's not true. It was still weird, but at least they addressed, like, oh, honey, we need to talk. That's not alright. We'll talk about it later, but that's not okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like, man, I feel like it's one of those things.
I don't understand the circumstances in which he thought that was going to be like a good thing to do.
Because Mel Gibson told him to, dude.
Yeah,
but
exactly. He is Mad Max.
And if the Road Warrior says it must be true.
He does know.
I never even thought about that motherfucker.
What?
The Patriot.
Women want.
Yeah. He's the Patriot, and he also tries to act like he's from Australia.
And Braveheart.
And he tries to act like he's from Braveheart.
And the crazy guy in
Dixon's Home too.
Lethal Weapon.
There is another funny.
I can't think of his name in Lethal Weapon right now.
Yeah, I don't know, but he's an all
Briggs or Griggs?
Didn't you just say Lethal Weapon 2, or did you say Lethal Weapon?
Lethal Weapon.
Okay, I thought you were like the guy in Lethal Weapon 2. And I was like, well,
but not in the first one.
He's in all 4. I don't know why you.
Not to go on too long, but there's one point where Mel Gibson is taunting Mark Wahlberg's character, saying, "Oh, you're not going to go out and cut your own
circling his dick around.
Don't cut your tree from a farm.
Go out in circles.
Go find a farm or go find a tree in the wilderness. Just cut that down like a real man." Blah blah blah. Mark Wahlberg's like, "Fine, I can do this shit." Blah blah blah. And Will Ferrell points one out, or they're walking in the forest, and he's like, Will Ferrell's talking to Mel Gibson without Mark Wahlberg being able to hear. He said, "Are you sure we should cut a tree out in the wilderness like this?" Because he didn't hear that Mel Gibson set it up. He thinks it's all Mark Wahlberg's idea. And Mel Gibson is like, "Oh, absolutely not. It is a felony. You will go to jail if they catch you." And it was just funny for him to flip the script so quickly. Like they ended up cutting down one of the cell phone towers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember seeing that on the in the trailer.
Yeah, and I feel like we're walking on, or at least I am, the whole like fine line of, because it's a woman like male kind of movie thing, that some people might think it's a little sexist.
Linda Cardinelli's character plays a more prominent role in this one.
Yeah. Well, and I would also argue that I think that the first Daddy's Home movie is actually like a funnier move, like the way it's presented and made it comes out funnier than the Bad Moms movie, because I think we were talking about earlier just how the Bad Moms seems to try a little like too hard to be.
Yeah, I don't want to say that there's not validity there, but they're also trying to like almost victimize themselves, like victimize the situation more.
Yeah, I understand.
But not to say that there isn't validity to the things that are occurring, but they're really running with those.
I think it does a couple things that I don't think Daddy's Home 2 does, where one, Bad Moms tries to, like you're saying, victimize even more so and make it seem like, I don't know how to word it, in a sense where it's, like I said earlier, the first third, it made it seem like Mila Kunis was the only, like, good person in this whole movie. Like, everybody seemed like a piece of shit.
It sounds like a shittily written movie.
Yeah, but then, like, later in the movie, it made it seem like, oh, that's just how guys are, as they do this. And but then
the guy that she's dating, like, the guy that she ends up dating, he seems like a good...
Oh, he's way better. That's why I was wondering about... It seemed like he kind of took a turn in the second movie.
Oh, no. In the second movie, he's just as good. Good. No, he, like, completely fine. Like, he's a very good, conscientious boyfriend. Like, he's there with him. He's always trying to help out.
That's good.
And, there's a lot of... He takes a lot of crap from her mom. Like, her mom treats him like shit. She thinks he's a helper, like a gardener, several times.
Is that
she never gets his names right. Like, one time, like, near the end of the movie, his name's Jesse. Near the end of the movie, she calls him Jesus, and they're like, that's close-ish.
Yikes. I think that it's almost a overcompensation kind of thing. I think we mentioned earlier, where it's like the whole idea that it's an old idea now at this point, where it's like girls have to be all prim and proper, but still some movies like this, they overcompensate on the other end of that, where they're like, well, these girls aren't, and then like we were saying earlier, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I hang out with women, and then it like just takes that a step further, and you're like, oh, okay, what? No, that's not how a person reacts in this situation. Like, what is, and it tries to just like,
and
be
like,
even more than
no. I think a really great example of this is the scene where they're trying to get Mila Kunis laid in the first one, where she cannot not be a mom.
Yeah.
And like she's like talking to people about their mom.
And she had that bra?
Not even that.
Okay.
Like, she
had like this weird bra where she was like, this is my sexy bra, but it literally just looked like a sports bra. And they were like, that's just a bar of, like, you have one boob, it looks like. And she was like, what? I have it in black, though. And I was like, okay, nobody is that naive that you...
Right. but it's when they're at the bar and, like, she's trying to talk to guys, and she's like, she spills something, and then she's like, no, with club soda, like, she turns into, like, a weird 40s, like, mom.
Yeah,
and it's
she's
like super
awkward. Everybody she's like, oh, you gotta get that stain out with this.
Like, when was the last time you called your, like,
the one guy in the corner was really bad.
And it's so awkward and, like, makes no sense. Because even if she's having trouble talking to someone, she, like, no rational human being would be that bad at it.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that might be the stuff we're complaining about might be a sign of the fact that 2 men wrote and directed this movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a sign of, like, oh man, I bet you this is what moms wish they could do. Whereas, like, if you actually had, like, you know, prominent female comedy writers that could go into it,
but I think it could more just be 2 people that write shitty movies. Right? It's not like
that's all. That no, is but also
like, it's not like there couldn't be any. There have been movies by men that have, you know.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying otherwise, and that's why I'm saying you're probably right as well. It's probably a little bit of both, maybe at the end of the day, or it might be more one than other. Like, as far as just, I don't know how to write a movie about this, but I don't think it helps that it's 2 guys writing movies about moms. You know what I mean?
But it's not like they're not writing the fucking any characters good in it.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's very much tropes of, like, moms. Pretty much. And it's like, I don't remember, like, this being a thing. But, yeah.
I mean, it's basically like an amped up version of what you expect should be going on when you just look at Alex Dunphy in Modern Family.
Okay.
And then it's like if Claire in Modern Family only had Alex to deal with.
Well, I mean, even...
And that's what they're expecting.
Yeah, even still, it's like Claire is still a prominent... Like, both Claire and Phil have, like... full-time jobs that are...
I agree. I'm just saying, like, that this is, like, weird, where they hone in on this relationship and then imagine that that's how it is universally.
Yeah, I get that.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, at the end of the day...
A lot of this has been talking in circles, trying to make sure we do not sound like complete misogynists for Tyler picking Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird. I'm not saying that either of them are necessarily good movies at the end of the day.
please don't unsubscribe simply because Tyler picked Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah,
is where this is going.
Yeah, because I felt like some people might think I have a deposed like opinion. I mean, I'm not a dad. I'm never gonna be a dad.
But you have had both a dad and a mother,
and a home.
Yeah. Oh shit.
And been to Christmas.
And a two.
Anyway, I feel like we can put a cap on this.
Yes.
A feather in this cake. Charlie is done.
Let's go ahead. I'm pretty done with it too. I just felt like we had to lay a little basis there. At least I did, to kind of cover my own ass.
And I tried to help you.
You tried your best.
And I'm probably going down with this shit.
But yeah, I would.
See them both, make your own opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say that about the sequels. I would almost say, in this case, see both of them if you can, and make your decision on which sequel you want to see. Like it's an interesting case. These are both like direct sequels to like comedy movies and also Christmas related in a way. Like
get to work, America. You have your mission.
And this tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Oh god.
But yeah, so I picked Daddy's Home 2 over Bad Moms Christmas, and moving on from that, I guess the only thing we have left are plugs and stuff like that. Steve, you want to just kind of go ahead and lay those out on the table?
Go ahead and check out our friends over at Three Wise Media. And then we've got Good, Bad, or Bad Bad, the YouTube channel.
We do indeed.
With the associate of This Film Is Lit, which is part of that network. Then, of course, Beyond the Blast Door, the Star Wars podcast, and we can't forget Critical Misadventure, the D&D podcast. Let's see, what else? Don't forget to check us out at all of our social medias, at Movieverse Podcast on Twitter. You can find us movieversuspodcast at gmail.com if you want to email us any suggestions or things like that, or just reach out to us on our Facebook account, Movie Versus Podcast. And once again, thank you to Jeremy Lamb for our theme and Scott Blackwell for all of our visual media.
No.
No.
And that's
I believe that's it, unless Tyler's got something else.
Well, and that's movie versus in the sense of movie vs.
Oh, correct.
Okay, yeah, not the word fully typed out. Other than that, then yeah, I think that's all we got. Charlie, you got anything to add?
No, I'm good.
On your end? All right, bye.
Movie Versus is a production of Three Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.
That's the one where they're like,
Red
bandana.
I don't believe
Louisiana.
I don't believe it's gone or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe it's gone or something like that.
Wheezy and the Fast. That's our new sponsor. That's how we're announcing it.
Eating Popeyes is all
I ever. If we had Popeyes for a sponsor, I would just be like there eating biscuits. I'd be like, another round of biscuits, please. What?
Well, you probably drop out of school. You got your food and just do this forever.
That's probably true.
You just have boxes of Popeyes in your house.
No. Boxes of Popeyes would be my house.
You'd be asking people like,
God damn
like,
it, swear.
All right, rent is $5.50 a month plus utilities.
And how much is that in Popeyes?
Yeah. Well, I have unlimited Popeyes.
So, would you prefer it bone in or like popcorn?
And they're like, I'm a Lee's chicken kind of guy.
Bone in?
And you're like,
and then I'm gonna
want this apartment.
I'm gonna pull out a biscuit. Like, are you sure you're a Lee's?
Pay via bone in or bone in? And I like the idea of them giving him a year's supply each year, but at one time.
Each day.
And I have to ration it myself.
No, yeah, I just mean that January 1st he gets like an airdrop of all cooked Popeye's chicken.
Every time now that I think of a helicopter, I hear the beginning of the A-Team. these criminal fuck, I can't think of the beginning of the A-Team off the top of my head.
It's like in the criminal justice system.
Not Lee's chicken. Popeye's chicken is the most delicious of crimes. These are their stories.
Popeyes is sexually heinous food.